Welcome, I'm glad you're here. You will not believe how many times I've had to redo this video. Everything is so second nature to me that I forget to explain certain elements. I only find it out in the edit and I'm like, oh my god, they're not going to know about that. I'm hoping that this one's the last one. I feel good about it. I'm going to show everything that there is to show about making a blog post. You are going to know everything that you need to know about it. I'm going to be repeating a lot of this stuff so that you'll feel comfortable in the whole process of making it. It's not that it's complicated. It's quite easy. It's just new. Well, for you, it's new. So I feel good. Let's do this. Okay, so now let's go ahead into the WordPress backend. Okay, now in the backend over here, we're going to go into posts and we're going to say add new. This is the screen for adding a new post. You can see that there's an adding of a title and then all the widgets or blocks go underneath the title. Now, everything that you need is called a widget or block. Text, images, galleries, headings, this is all widgets or blocks. So whenever we want to add some text or an image, we have to add that widget or block. Now I say widget or block because the name can vary. So it can either be a widget or a block. So now to find your block or widget, you go to the top left, you'll find this blue plus sign. If we click that, this menu appears. And over here, you will find your text, which is called a paragraph, your headings. You can find lists, images, galleries, just a whole bunch of stuff. Now, things I'm going to be using a lot of inside this tutorial would be headings, paragraphs, columns, and images. Now, a column is when you want to split up, say, a text on the left and an image on the right, or vice versa. But in order to split it up nicely and more professional looking, we use columns. So those are going to be the main widgets that I'm going to be using in this example. Now if we click out of that menu, you'll see it disappears, obviously. And I want you to have a look on the right hand side. You'll see a different panel with a whole bunch of different options that we can edit. The two most important is the category and the featured image. Now I've covered the categories in the previous video. And have a look at that if you don't understand categories. The ones that we created then was industry related and tips, and that's what we're going to be using inside this example. The featured image is also an important one. This is going to be the main image of your article. The featured image is normally displayed underneath the heading and before the article. Now that's not always the case, but 9 times out of 10 that's generally how the layout is made. When you select a widget or a block, be it text, image, whatever. If you click on it, you will see at the top of the right hand side, it will go to the block options. Underneath that, you will see which widget or block you have selected. In this case, it was the paragraph. Here you see the options of what color of the text, the background of the text, and the sizing. There's a couple of advanced features that you can have, but it's not a lot. Gutenberg, which is the default editor of WordPress, doesn't really give you that many options. But in the case of blogs, you don't really need that many. It'll be very rare for you to be doing a lot of advanced editing on a post per post basis. So it's not really something that you're going to miss in this editor. In a different video, we'll show more advanced editing using Elementor and WP Bakery, those sort of editors. So for now, let's start on this post. I have an article that's pre-made using Word. You don't have to do that. It's convenient for me in this example. Most of the time, I would just write the article immediately into WordPress. Now, if you want to use features like Grammarly and that, you wouldn't be able to use it in the backend, not at the moment that I know of. The title of my article is Downtime Dreams. So I can just copy and paste the first paragraphs. I must just make sure of spacing and things like that, just in case that didn't translate well. Now, as you can see, if I click on the block, this other menu appears. It's not a very advanced menu. It has all the basics, like left align, center align, right align if you wanted to do that. You can make things bold, italic. You can add links, so you can hyperlink into different URLs, and it gives you a whole bunch of other features as well. So if you need anything there, you generally will find it in this menu. If you want to remove this paragraph, you would click on these 3 dots and you would remove the paragraph at the bottom of this option menu. As you can see, WordPress took what I copied and pasted and made it into different paragraphs. It didn't just lump it all into one. It can be useful, sometimes it can be irritating, but now it gives me the options that I can swap these paragraphs just in case I wanted to, and I'll show you how that's done right now. If I wanted this paragraph to be on top of this paragraph, I select it, the menu comes up. These 6 dots is where I can drag. Now if I click and hold, I can move it up the chain, and now you can see that paragraph's on top of that. If I wanted to move it back, I grab it by the 6 dots and I move it down until where I like it. So now let's carry on with my article. The next part that I need to add is going to be a heading. So now I go up into the blue plus sign and I say heading. I click on that and a heading appears. It also has its own little menu, and on the right you see it also has its own options, and I can change these if I wish. The heading for my article is research keywords. Now by default it's an H2. Now what that means, it's a heading 2. So it's a heading of the second importance. I don't like how big this is. I want this to be smaller. So I'm going to highlight and say I want the text of this heading to be smaller. So now if I go into typography, I have default sizes and I can select which ones I want this to be. But if you wanted to have precise control of how big you wanted, you can see that you have this toggle button to set custom size. If you click that, the menu changes underneath and you can say an option, say, of 25 or 45. I think for me in this example, I'm just going to stick with a 35. I don't know if I think bold's a bit too strong. I'm going to take out the bold. After my heading, I would like to have a column. I'm going to have text on the left and I'm going to have an image on the right. Now I just click on the blue plus sign. I scroll down till I find columns. I'm going to add my column. I'm going to say I want 2 columns that are 50-50, so evenly split. And now I can add a plus here. Now this plus is the same as the top over here, but it's more fine-grained, so the system knows that I want whatever I add right there. So now let me add a paragraph. So now let me add my paragraph quickly. I paste it here. In the left, I'd like to have an image. So now I'm going to select image. I'm going to upload it, and it's going to be research keywords. It says keywords uploaded. So now you can see how the column works and how it splits up the different widgets into different placements. Kind of a self-explanatory thing there, but some people might not know about it, so I'm saying that now. Another way to add a heading, because now I'm going to use another heading, is also this plus sign that's been here the whole time. So you don't have to go right up to the top left. Here's another option that you can add over here. So I'm going to add another heading, and I want it to be the same as that one. So I'm going to say in its default sizing, I want it to be a 35. So now I'm just going to select it all and I say boldness off. Okay, that's my second heading. Now I'm going to add, see if I can add columns here. Oh, there we go. A column, I want a 50-50. On the left, I'm going to have an image this time. I'm going to upload it. And this is the market research one. Let me see, market research. There, upload. On the left, I'm going to add a paragraph. Let me add my paragraph on the left here. Now again, I'm going to add another column. Column, 50-50. I'm going to have the paragraph on the left. I'm going to have the image on the right. Let me upload the image for this. I'm going to add, let me add my text. Now if you noticed, I didn't add a heading this time. I forgot. So let me add my heading now. I'm going to say heading. Let me paste my heading in. Now it's too big. Let me select it all. Take out the boldness. Change the size on the right in the settings to 35. Like the others. Now I can select the heading using the 6 dot drag icon, and I can move it up until I find the exact point, as you can see by the blue line, where I want to let go. When I let go, now it looks correct again. Now we carry on. So now we can add another block, we can add a column. Again, I'm forgetting the heading so that we can add it again and drag again. You can see it's very repetitive here. So I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with this. Let me upload my image. And on the left, I'm going to have my paragraph. Now we can add that heading that we forgot. We add heading. Now we make it not so bold. Change the size again to say 35. We click on the heading to the 6-dot drag icon, and we move it up slowly until it goes into the middle where I'd like it. And as you can see, that is my article. We've repeated a lot of the stuff. It's very basic. If you are struggling with this, it's only because it's new. It's not actually complicated. A lot of people get scared in doing something new, and you shouldn't be. You should be able to make mistakes and learn from them. Now let's say that this article is complete. Before I publish this, I need to make sure that in the settings of the post itself that everything is fine. On the right hand side, you can see all the options for the post. I'll make sure that I'm on the post because it's selected at the top. I do want to have this public, so I would leave the visibility to public. I want to publish this immediately. Now I don't have to publish immediately. If you click on immediately, you can see that you can set a date and time for where you want to publish this. But for me now, personally, I'm going to have this as immediately. I can have this article stick to the top of the blog post for whatever reason that might come up. But for this example, I'm not going to select that. You can change the author of a blog post. Even a blog post that has been already published, you can come into the editing of it and you can change the author afterwards as well, and then you would just update the article. Over here I'm going to keep the author as is. The template I wouldn't worry about, you just ignore this. Generally speaking, your theme is the template. You don't really need to use different types of templates. This used to be for if you wanted to post just a video, just an article that was text, just audio, but things have changed now and you don't really need to use these type of templates anymore. The more important things for you is the categories in the featured image. Make sure that this article fits into the categories that you want. If you don't have the correct category here for this article, you can create the categories inside the post here. Let me show you quickly. So if you add new category, my new category is going to be called example category. I'm going to delete this afterwards. If I wanted to have a parent, I can say the industry related or tips. I can actually set that here. Let me just put industry related and say add new. So without leaving the post screen, I've created a new category for this post in case I'd forgotten it before. For this example, I'm actually going to select industry related and tips. Now we move and select our featured image. We click on set featured image and we can select the featured image that we want to have this post to have. We say set featured image. Now I'm going to disallow comments and I'm going to disallow pingbacks and trackback. It's a personal preference of mine. It is totally up to you how you'd like to have that set. Once we're happy with all these settings, we can now go up to the top and hit publish. When you hit publish, you can see that WordPress is just making sure that you're happy with all the settings that you had for this post. So it wants to check that the visibility is public, that you are publishing immediately, and if you'd like to add some tags. You have the option for tags, but I'm not going to cover that in this video because it's not that important. The category and the featured images has more weight in the blog article. Once you're happy with these settings, just hit publish again. Congratulations, your post is published. We have both survived this. I'm very glad that I redid this video. In the next video, I'm going to be using a far more advanced editor and we're going to do some crazy stuff there. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.